Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 6 of our F1 Manager 22 career mode. Yes, we return once more. I know some of you guys have been asking for it in the comments down below. Like I keep saying, I am going to try and keep this series daily, so if you are enjoying it, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to try and do one normal F1 22 video and then one F1 Manager video a day for as long as we possibly can. So yeah, like I said, if you're enjoying it, it would be greatly appreciated. Trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, and if you can help me get one step closer, yeah, it would really helpful. But heading though into the Spanish Grand Prix, like I said, if you missed out on Miami that went live yesterday night, definitely worth going back and checking out. A very spicy weekend from the all-new Hard Rock circuit in Miami. Yeah, Carlos Sainz, he's certainly not going to try and give up on this championship too early on in the fight. And of course, this weekend he heads into his home Grand Prix from Barcelona. In terms of other things, though, we've got going on, we have got some sponsor obligations. We have finally got the first of our new designs all ready to go as well, so we can try and focus on building more parts for the car. And we've also got some development perks for Charles Leclerc there. You can see we have got him up now to an 89 overall at this stage of the year. And I'm going to try and improve his defending by just another tick. So yeah, we are slowly but surely, getting both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. So, I mean, 89 and 87 rated nowadays. Where does that rank them in the grid? Let's have a look. Overall rating. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, of course, tied at the top at 90, and then yeah, Charles Leclerc tied with Bottas, Carlos Sainz, he is Carlos Sainz of course, and Sergio Perez there with Lando, George and Esteban not too far behind them. But yeah, at the moment though, we're doing alright early on in the campaign. I don't think, once we've actually got that new front wing design completed, we'll try and get that bolted on to both cars there, and there we go, that is all confirmed. So we'll stop fast forwarding then. I'll just have a quick look through the emails whether something has come up. There we go, it is just obviously confirming that the front wing is on there. So we'll try and get that on both cars then. I think obviously if anyone's going to get the part, it is going to be Charles Leclerc there. But yeah, we are going to have to manufacture a couple of those wings. So we'll give each driver one. And when they inevitably ruin it at Monaco next weekend, then we're going to be a little bit screwed. So yeah, we'll get that project all set up, ready to go. So at the moment then, yeah, we have got front wing manufacturing progress is inbound. Can we design any more parts then before we head into this weekend? Now, we have struggled a little bit still with engine cooling. So I'm wondering, yeah, there we go. Side pods are certainly going to be the way to go for this one. Now, of course, we've got a lot of design time, everything like that. So we're going to try and really put a lot of hours into this. Of course, you can't do many upgrades, it feels like, early on still on the game, because of course, yeah, we just don't have that much time or that many resources even. We haven't got that many team members to try and do things with. So we're going to use quite a lot of the CFD and the wind tunnel hours there, and you can see that's going to give us a big jump up on both the drag reduction and the engine cooling there. So yeah, trying to get big upgrades done. We'll put more focus on the engine cooling just because, we've got a very quick car anyway. It was just the engine that we seem to be struggling with. So we'll go with that. And we have got 7 available engineers. So if we lob all 6 that we possibly can on there, only going to take us a month, which is what, 3 Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. So that is well worth doing. And we can even drop that down to 20 days, so just after the Monaco Grand Prix, if we really wanted to there. So we'll confirm that for $250,000 as well. Still got plenty of money in the bank. So I think, yeah, we should be all ready to go then. Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. I don't think we've got anything else exciting that has come through. I think, yeah, let's get into it then. Spanish GP weekend. Will Carlos Sainz draw level with Charles Leclerc on 3 wins apiece? So that was the other thing I had forgotten about, though, before we head into this weekend. I think we are going to need to try and put a new gearbox into both of the cars. I think we are going to serve a grid penalty if we do that. So we'll install that on car 1, and we'll do the same on car 2. Where am I going? Gearbox. The engine wear as well is looking quite bad as we head into this weekend. What are we looking at in terms of engine-wise? 46%, that should be able to last. I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to leave Carlos Sainz on the old engine this weekend, but I'm going to put a new one in Charles Leclerc's car just because I don't want him starting further back in the Monaco Grand Prix there. So, yeah, Charles Leclerc is going to take some penalties then this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Although he is still within the engine pool, so he might be okay. But yeah, Charles Leclerc then onto engine 2. Carlos Sainz will leave him on the original engine still. And yeah, let's get into it then. Spanish GP. Imperium experiences are back and better than ever. This time they are offering you the chance to win a weekend of a lifetime at the 2022 season finale in Abu Dhabi. This includes a 4-night accommodation at a 5-star hotel and travel to and from the circuit included every day. All you need to do is click the link down in my description and enter the competition on their website. But hurry, with only 1,500 tickets available and the competition closing on the 14th of September, you definitely don't want to miss out on this. So click the link down in the description below, and a massive thank you to Imperium for sponsoring this video.
Formula One has cranked up the heat over Barcelona. The first Grand Prix held here was won by Nigel Mansell after a wheel-to-wheel battle with Ayrton Senna. But who will follow in his footsteps this weekend? Long straights and medium-speed turns dominate here, but there's something else to watch out for at Barcelona. The air currents are strong and unpredictable, and they'll be giving aerodynamic components a real run for their money this weekend. We might still be early in the season, but that doesn't mean we can sit back and relax. Everything is up for grabs, and nothing is certain at this stage. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Right, so beautiful sunny Barcelona then, although it looks like we could see potentially some cloudy skies come Sunday afternoon. In terms of sponsors and everything like that, you can see we are still trying to go Q3 every time, qualifying at least second place over one of the cars, and of course trying to keep our hot streak up as best as possible there, just to make sure we're earning more and more money for the team. But yeah, Barcelona though, obviously a very, very high downforce circuit. I would expect this one to suit Red Bull a bit more, but so far this year has been a little bit strange there, as of course we have been able to get the new front wing on both cars, so they are certainly going to have to try and test that out and see how they get on. But yeah, we'll try and make sure we've got the car geared up nicely. We'll try, like always on a Friday, we'll try some different things and sort of see what works, I suppose. So yeah, I think the aim of the game this weekend is just going to be trying to make sure both drivers get used to the new front wing there. Like I said, we have put the new wing on both of the cars. So yeah, you know, we wanted to, you know, we set up at the start of the year these new front wings, obviously for Spain, for Monaco, for these sorts of circuits as you get back to Europe. It's kind of weird now in Formula 1, the fact you've got 3 very low downforce tracks and then 3 or 4 quite high downforce. I still class Miami as quite a high downforce circuit, despite, of course, the monstrous straightaway down in towards the final couple of turns. But yeah, fingers crossed, of course. Free practice so far this year has been fairly undramatic for Ferrari. It will go wrong at some point for us, but it hasn't happened yet. Bit odd there from Charles Leclerc. I mean, he's 6 tenths up on anyone else currently in the session, but Leclerc not happy with the setup tweaks that we made at the moment, so we might have to try and make him a little bit more higher downforce. As yeah, the team's still warning us just about Carlos Sainz's engine. Yeah, of course, Sainz not taking a penalty. Well, definitely not taking a penalty this weekend. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure whether Leclerc will for the gearbox change. But yeah, Leclerc looking fast, but we'll let him finish this run and we'll make a few tweaks. I mean, I guess this is the exciting one that we want to see. Oscar Piastri out for Alpine for his very first proper running in a Formula 1 car here in an official practice session. We love to see it. Oscar Piastri, of course, basically confirmed to be going to McLaren next year at the time of recording this. But yeah, Piastri, he's looking feisty there. He's only a couple of tenths away from big old Fernando Alonso as Charles Leclerc dives back into the pit lane then for the end of the first run. Mixed emotions then at the end of free practice here from Spain. Charles Leclerc incredibly fast there, the only man down into the 119s, but Sainz still P2 ahead of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Mercedes seem a whole lot closer. Of course, we have got to remember, Charles Leclerc has got a fresh engine in the car, so he should theoretically have a bit more pace than Carlos anyway. But neither driver feeling particularly confident in the setup. What we'll do, we'll let the team try and figure out a few things during free practice 2 and free practice 3, and I'll join you guys ready for qualifying.
Here we are, back for more Formula 1 action as we prepare for qualifying. Drivers will no doubt be constantly pushing to secure a good starting place in tomorrow's race. Of course, all it takes is one momentary lapse of concentration and they can find themselves at the back of tomorrow's grid. There are always risks to be taken, but can they afford not to? Hold on tight, because we're getting underway.
Well, having a look then at the final three practice results, and somehow there, Carlos Sainz bucking the trend and actually going fastest in FP3, perhaps a little bit motivated with obviously it being his home Grand Prix. It looks like no grid penalties up and down the order, but yeah, Verstappen still only a tenth away there. Sergio Perez a bit further back. Once again, looks like he might spend his weekend battling Lewis Hamilton. But then, yeah, you kind of got your usual culprits, your Gaslys, your Bottas's, your Alpines, your Kevin Magnussen's, just on that brink of the top 10. Let's get into qualifying, though. Hopefully, we should just make it into Q3 nice and easily, if our drivers don't get blocked. Well, we didn't watch much of the running in free practice, but qualifying day here from Barcelona, of course, yeah, super, super important you get yourself nice and high up the order. You know, it's not a track that's impossible to overtake on, especially with the new regulations, but of course you really have only got the big chance down in towards turn 1 there. Of course, the braking zone that's been reconfigured down the end of the back straight in towards turn 10. Honestly, I think now has made it even harder to overtake down there than the old hairpin, where you could sort of just try and send it up the inside of someone. But you can see Charles Leclerc nice and tidy through the first sector. Of course, we'll monitor the times there as he immediately goes purple. Will Sainz be able to go any quicker? What is the gap between them? They are on quite different setups this weekend, and a tenth and a half up for Charles Leclerc immediately there in sector 1. Like we said, you know, has got the fresh power unit in the back of the car, so we should have a bit of an advantage over Sainz anyway. But, you know, later on in the year, if Charles Leclerc has 6 from grid penalties, maybe Sainz will get some free points back. But, of course, it does depend on what Red Bull do as well, because they could still very quickly become a hindrance here, as Albon immediately sets the pace there on a 120.5. We should certainly be down into the 117s with a bit of luck, as Charles Leclerc heads in towards the final tricky technical sector 3 for the first time in qualifying here. Through the left, through the right, out of the final corner, up towards the checkered flag. What is the time going to be for Charles Leclerc? And hopefully it should be good enough to see us straight into Q2. It's going to be a 1 minute 17.5. That's good enough for Charles. How far away is Sainz going to be? Over the line he comes. He's a little way away. There are 17.9. No, it was an 18 flat, sorry. But that should be good enough to see us both cars immediately into Q2. And there we go then, Q1 results. Charles Leclerc still in a league of his own at the moment, but Sainz and Verstappen tussling for second place are ahead of Perez and Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris looking very, very strong there at the end of Q1. But you've got your usual culprits, your Aston Martins, your Williams, and your Mick Schumachers out in Q1. Here, Williams, Latifi a long, long way off the pace there. 1.4 seconds away from the cut-off point for Q2, but yeah, like I said, safely out of Q1, no issues there. Let's try and get through Q2 nice and tidy. Charles Leclerc at the moment is in his own race. Well, Carlos Sainz might be getting in the way of Lewis Hamilton here as he tries to come to the end of his run, but Carlos Sainz about to start his... Why? I mean, I don't know how much that's going to screw Carlos Sainz in his first Q2 run. I mean, Charles Leclerc, we've just let him go out and start running. I think he is behind one of the Red Bulls, though, so fingers crossed that Sergio Perez doesn't slow him down, which it looks like he doesn't too badly. But both drivers kind of tripping over other cars once more. That is just the aim of qualifying. Try and find a lap where you don't get tripped over. But yeah, hopefully, again, you know, these should be 2 representative times. I mean, we've got a fair bit of time anyway that we can sort of drop back into if we absolutely have to here on qualifying. I mean, we've got at least a second before the cut-off point, as Carlos now potentially all over the back of fellow Spaniard Fernando Alonso here. I think he is. And it looks like he just gets around him before they get into Capure corner. And Leclerc's being held up behind one of the McLarens there. So Leclerc will call in 39 metres away. He is definitely going to get screwed over there by the other cars. What is Sainz doing as he heads up in towards the final couple of corners? He's got a Haas car just in the way, as doesn't look like Leclerc was able to get into the pit lane then. So Leclerc is 1 second off Fernando Alonso's pace, which certainly won't be enough to see him through into Q2. Carlos Sainz out of the final corner. Surely this is still going to be fastest on the board. Yes, it is, but only an 18.8. Not particularly great runs in Q2, sorry there. Right, well, Charles Leclerc then about to start his second flying lap here from Q2, of course. We're still making him go out on the original tyres that he used in Q1, but hopefully now it looks like we should have clear track space for both cars as we head back down towards turn 1. They just don't want to take any risks like I keep saying, we've got a car that can safely make it into Q3. We don't need to be there right at the end of the session here, of course, when the track is at its absolute grippiest, but you can just see Carlos Sainz racing round just behind. Verstappen has now dipped into the 117s, though, so that's going to be interesting to see whether Sainz can match him once again. Sergio Perez, once more, seemingly in a bit of no man's land. There's a lot of cars in the drop zone that you'd expect to improve there. Your Hamiltons, your Bottas's, and your Charles Leclerc, of course, surely are going to be able to relegate a couple of those other drivers there. Your Zhou Guanyu's, your Kevin Magnussen's. Lando Norris there up in P5. That would be a very, very good showing so far for McLaren this weekend as they look to try and make progress. But riding on board, though, still with Charles Leclerc. We'll ride with him as he heads down in towards the tight technical sector 3 then. Nice chunk of curb as he heads through the new turn 10 as you rise back up the hill here. Turn 11 just seems to go on forever in my personal opinion there. And of course, you've got to try and get as close as you can to the gravel on the exit. This final sector, I absolutely cannot stand on the other F1 games. But out of the final turn then, up towards the checkered flag. If it's purple in Sector 1, it's purple in Sector 2. Surely it's going to be purple in Sector 3. Charles Leclerc, mid-17, please. Yes, he does. Into a 117.4 there, as Sainz just splits the Red Bulls 2 thousandths away from Max Verstappen. So Sainz versus Max could be a very interesting battle as we get into Q3. And there we go then, the end of Q3. Charles Leclerc just improving his times ever so slightly. It's just 1,000th of a second between Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. Hamilton just snuck through into Q3 there, but Bottas didn't improve. Ended up down in P13, so Lando Norris seems to have had a really, really good run there. I think that might be his first Q3 appearance of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But Charles Leclerc, again, he's 4/10 clear of anyone else. Surely, if he can get a lap in, no one's going to be able to stop him. Right, come on then, Carlos Sainz. Let's try and support the homeboy a little bit here as we head into Q3. Of course, hasn't got the fresh engine that his teammate does, but still is looking very, very racy here, and I love him. If we could try and get a third front row lockout in a row. Why? Why have you slowed down there to let a Red Bull through and completely blocked your teammate? Sainz, I wanted to back you there, mate, but you made a bit of a poor choice last weekend. Did walk away with the race victory, it must be added, but what was that? I mean, we have got so many fresh sets of tyres here for Q3. We may as well let both drivers head round the final couple of corners and see what times they can do. Carlos Sainz up towards the checkered flag then. Ocon sets the pace on a 19.1. Leclerc will go quicker. Sainz won't, though. And Leclerc currently still fastest, 1.5 seconds away from the pace he showed earlier on. Right, well, this is nervous times then at the end of Q3. It looks like no cars, apart from Lewis Hamilton, really were able to get a fair representative in. Perez is out of place, Leclerc's out of place, Max Verstappen, Sainz and George Russell are all seemingly out of place at the moment. So it's going to be very, very tricky here as everyone heads out for their final run. If anyone gets blocked, that is their qualifying over. And I mean, if anyone makes a mistake as well, they could ruin the qualifying for the other cars. But riding on board then with Charles Leclerc for the third and final run here of qualifying. I'm going to try and monitor the gaps for Carlos Sainz as well, just in the background. I mean, Carlos, yeah, down in P9 at the moment, would certainly not be happy to walk away with that. As there we go, Charles Leclerc improving, purple through the first sector. I guess the other one we've got to watch out for is Max Verstappen as well. But Leclerc in the purple, Sainz in the green, which is super, super important there. And I mean, yeah, still a 10.5 between them. Leclerc has, of course, because of that fresh engine, definitely got a lot more top-end speed on the run down towards turn 1 there. But through Capure Corner for the final time in qualifying, not quite flat in an F1 2022 car, but still not too far away. And of course, still a very, very technical challenge, that infamous turn 9 around this circuit. Leclerc, though, purple in Sector 2. It's not been the ideal start to Q3 here in Spain, but surely, as he rounds the final couple of turns, he was fastest by half a second in Q1 and Q2. As he rounds the final couple of corners here in Q3, surely it's going to be purple again for Charles Leclerc, up towards the checkered flag. Charles Leclerc, that's going to be a 17.4. That's a big improvement. Currently pole position by over a second there. Perez gets closer. Sainz gets even closer there, up into P2. What time will Max Verstappen do as he heads out of the final corner? Will he split the Ferraris? No, he won't. By 9,000ths of a second there, Carlos Sainz makes it a third front row lockout in a row for Ferrari. But Charles Leclerc, we've said it all session long, is seemingly in a league of his own this weekend. Maybe that'll continue into the Grand Prix tomorrow. I'm sure Carlos Sainz will want to try and battle it out for the race victory there. But Leclerc's on pole. Carlos Sainz P2 ahead of both Red Bulls and both Mercedes there. It looks like everyone else did get a fair representative in, but Alonso, Norris, Ocon and Gasly rounding out the top 10. Let's just quickly have a look. Final confirmation then. You can just see Leclerc got faster and faster as qualifying went on there. Both Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz, they're not able to improve on their Q2 times. But, I mean, look at that. Between all three sessions, less than a tenth separating all of their lap times, and they were never more than 200ths away from each other. That's going to be the battle to watch out for, I think, come Sunday. Let's get into it then. Spanish Grand Prix time. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Race day has arrived and the time has come for these drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel.
These past few days, Ferrari have been absolutely thrilling their fans. Now let's see if they can make the Tifosi proud by capitalizing on that grid position. This weekend, Red Bull displayed real promise during qualifying, but will they fulfill that potential by the time they reach the checkered flag? And the sky is looking grey and cloudy today. An effective tyre strategy could prove very valuable as the race plays out.
Well, Formula 1 is back in Barcelona, and the teams have got their work cut out for them.
Right, here we go then. Final preparation for the Spanish Grand Prix, and let's just have a quick look at what strategy we're going to try and take on today then. In terms of compounds, we have still got a fair few fresh tyres. Two-stop definitely seems like the way to go though this weekend then. Medium soft or soft medium soft is two rather aggressive strategies. I think we're going to try and split them up though. Of course, it worked quite nicely in Imola when we put Charles Leclerc on the softs there at the start, but it did rely on Carlos Sainz also holding Max Verstappen back quite a lot early on in the race. But that's what we're going to try on Charles Leclerc's car. We'll make sure Sainz has got a fair shot at this as well. We are going to go... We're actually going to try and do medium soft for Carlos Sainz here. So that's the strategy we're going to try and take on today. Just make sure both those soft sits are a little bit shorter than the medium run. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we get on today. I didn't save the strategy, which is very annoying because I keep doing that for some reason on F1 Manager. But yeah, we'll just quickly tweak those once more. Create strategy D. So both drivers starting on the mediums. They might be vulnerable if Red Bull decide to start on softs, but I want to give them a fair shot here. Spanish Grand Prix, let's get into it.
The drivers have now taken position on the grid, and it's looking like a cloudy day. And there is Charles Leclerc. He won today. Let's see if they can take advantage of that position. And further back, there's Sainz. They're in second place on the grid, but that could so easily change in the first few seconds of the race. And we're just moments away now. This is it. It's the Spanish Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And immediately looks like Sainz has got the jump there. Charles Leclerc not getting off to the best getaway down towards turn one. Looks like the second phase actually was a whole lot better there. He's having a look. Max Verstappen trying to look around the outside of Sainz in towards the first corner there. And it looked like Sainz reacted beautifully at the start there. But will he get jumped by Max Verstappen through turn one, through the sweeping turn three? He goes still on the inside there. Come on, Carlos. Don't lose the place to Verstappen straight away. Still side by side as they head up the hill in towards turn 4 there. But surely Carlos Sainz now on the inside will hang on to that position there. And that's going to leave Max Verstappen perhaps just a little bit vulnerable from his teammate Sergio Perez at the start there. But brilliant defensive work from Carlos Sainz immediately. I'm going to try and tell him to hold the cars back from behind, as now, yeah, like we said, we've just got to try and do what we did in Imola early on and let Charles Leclerc break free at the front of the field. But yeah, fantastic defending from Carlos. I did honestly think when Verstappen got the inside for turn 2 there that he was probably going to lose the place, but looks like Hamilton's hung on to P5 there. Alonso has moved up ahead of George Russell into P6, and Lando Norris for McLaren. Of course, he had a brilliant race out. I think it was at Albert Park where he walked away with 6 points there for McLaren, but apart from that, they haven't scored any points so far this year, as you can already see. Charles Leclerc trying to stretch his legs at the front of the field. We got yellow flags out. Someone's had issues. A big crash down the order there. Lando Norris and George Russell have come together. We got a safety car at the end of lap 1. What on earth happened there? I just saw it in the corner of my eye. We got 2 cars out of the Grand Prix, and that was a big shunt there. We won't box either car right at the start here, but can we have a look as to what happened? So running on board then, George Russell, they're not particularly close at the moment. Did George Russell loop it round and Lando Norris run into him? No, George Russell, they both ran wide. Very weird. Not too sure how they've done that one, but Lando Norris and George Russell trying to mess around with each other on the infield, and, well, they're both out of the Grand Prix in a bizarre incident. Well, there we go then. Neither McLaren or Mercedes very happy with that one, but a safety car is immediately deployed then at the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. Like I said, there's no real need to get either driver into the pit lane. Of course, we'll just get both of them to save fuel, everything like that. But yeah, not ideal at the start of this race for Charles Leclerc. Had already built up quite a healthy margin, but I don't think, surely we won't really see anyone pit unless you're right at the rear of the field. Right, so there we go then, end of lap 4. Safety car is confirmed to be heading back into the pit lane, and we're just going to get both drivers to get back to standard usage there. We're actually going to tell Charles Leclerc just to try and use a bit more energy here, as Carlos Sainz is still, we'll tell him not to fight his teammate there just in case Leclerc can't get the run. But out of the final couple of corners then, let's see what Charles Leclerc can do, as we'll try and watch from the rear view camera there. Will he be able to get a good run out of the final turn here? Carlos Sainz all over his gearbox, but Charles Leclerc has still got a fresh set of the soft compound tyres here, still trying to wait up towards the line there. You can see both Red Bulls, Hamilton, all very hungry to try and get a good getaway here, but it's green flag racing once more from Barcelona, and look at that, Sainz immediately all over the gearbox of Charles there. Hamilton just out of line there, trying to have a look, see if he can find anything in towards the first corner. But Sainz, he is just going to sit back, give Charles Leclerc a little bit of space there through the first corner as they both try and get temperature back into the tyres. We've told Charles Leclerc just to go for it and try to push over these next few laps there. As Sainz now, I think we can tell him, don't worry about fighting your teammate, but as long as you can try and defend from Max Verstappen behind there. What's going on in terms of tyre strategy in this race? Looks like most people have opted for the mediums, but a few cars on the softs there, as there seems to be a lot of battling going on a bit further down the order. Everyone trying to find some space early on in this Grand Prix still there, as already Charles Leclerc has once again built up the gap to over a second by the end of Sector 2 there, and you can just see Verstappen try and line up a move on Carlos Sainz again. The Dutchman, he knows what we're trying to do. He saw it happen at Imola, which was probably his worst weekend of the year so far. But Max Verstappen and that Red Bull team just can't do anything early on in this campaign to try and get under us in terms of strategy. But that being said, it is an incredibly long race here from Spain, and especially on a 2-stop, things could get interesting. Well, here we go. We've got more carnage going on then. Looks like Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher might have come together. What on earth is happening here in Barcelona? So Mick Schumacher right behind Yuki Tsunoda here, trying to potentially line up a move on the AlphaTauri. Tsunoda locks up. They just come together, and that's been a big crash. Somehow both drivers still going, but our second big incident of the Spanish Grand Prix. But this time around, we got no safety car, as already you can see the gap Leclerc is building up back at the front of the field here. We haven't got DRS. I think that'll be enabled in just a second, as we'll just tell Sainz to try and defend on the run down towards turn 1. DRS, like we said, now enabled. I think Yuki Tsunoda even has picked himself up a penalty for that incident there. Just a small lockup, and Mick Schumacher, just an innocent bystander in that moment. But yeah, Charles Leclerc just pulling away at the front of the field there, as we're going to have to, I think, focus on Carlos Sainz early on. But he is doing, once more, a sterling job at keeping these cars at bay. Here we go then, this will be the first big test of the afternoon for Carlos Sainz. How well is he going to be able to defend from Max Verstappen now? The Dutchman's got the DRS as we head back down towards turn 1 there. We've got someone trying to exit out of the pit lane. That's Yuki Tsunoda. And it looks like, oh, Verstappen's been quite behind him. And Fernando Alonso is immediately going to try and move up past both Red Bull cars there. He can't quite make it work, but he does get past Lewis Hamilton, as Tsunoda has just cost both Red Bulls a huge, huge chunk of time. And now, yeah, Alonso, El Plan, up into P5 of the Grand Prix there. Oh, Perez! What's going on between Perez and Max Verstappen there? Now the Red Bulls side by side as we head off the corner. Sainz has just got to go for it. Let's try and see if he can build up a gap there as both Red Bulls heading down the hill there. Max Verstappen, I'm sure, will not want to give up this place there as he forces Perez out towards the gravel on the exit. Tsunoda is just getting in the way of absolutely everyone at the moment there. This is carnage at the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. And we're only 8 laps in to this race there. We've already had 1 safety car, 2 big crashes, Tsunoda causing chaos, and Mick Schumacher as well, a long, long way up the road as everyone just trying to get around Yuki. Perez, though, has made the move work on Max Verstappen again there at the top of the hill, but we're just telling Sainz to go for it and try and break away from these cars behind there. This is a brilliant battle for us, watching the Red Bulls finally duke it out. Verstappen will hang on though. I'm amazed Red Bull aren't bringing team orders in there as Perez launches it over the curbs through the final chicane, but this is suddenly given Sainz a 1.5 seconds worth of breathing room. Surely Perez will get the run on Max Verstappen as we head back down towards turn 1 here. This is great battling at the start of the Spanish GP. Will Alonso be able to get involved in this one again? Perez, I think, now has been told just to calm it down and sit behind there, as Hamilton, I think, trying to make a move on Esteban Ocon there. Of course, Ocon's starting on the soft compound tyres, so he's just trying to build up and get ahead of the Mercedes there. But El Plan really coming to fruition early on this weekend there. Alonso up to 5th. Ocon potentially moving up into 6th place there if he can get the place of Lewis Hamilton. I think Lewis has just about been able to hang on to that one. But at the front of the field now, Carlos Sainz with a 2-second advantage over Max Verstappen. But Leclerc, he's completely checked out here, nearly 10 seconds up the road. Bearing in mind, of course, we've only had about 5 racing laps again. What's worrying me, though, I don't think Sainz has got the pace to really hang on ahead of the Red Bulls without having to try and fight them too much in this race. Again, we'll leave him on to try and hold the cars up behind, but Alonso's not really falling back, and that just makes me wonder whether Sainz here is still struggling in that car there, as throws a mean block on Max Verstappen down the hill there, just getting Leclerc to save a tiny bit of fuel at the moment, but the gap is still going in the right direction for Charles Leclerc. 11 seconds clear early on in this race, but like I said, the big focus now is what can Sainz do there as Verstappen thinks about it up the inside, but again, Sainz just slams the door. Here we go then, lap 13, Max Verstappen round the outside of Carlos Sainz. It looks like they might have been battling down in through the final sector, but Sainz slots back into P3 then of this race, and like I said, I think Verstappen might just have a little bit too much pace at this stage of the afternoon there. Verstappen now is probably going to go in hot pursuit of Charles Leclerc up the road there. What is Leclerc's tyre wear looking like? He's actually not using that much more out of the softs than these guys are out of the mediums. But yes, Carlos Sainz then slots back down into P3. He's going to be in for a long afternoon battling the Red Bulls here. But what an effort he's doing to try and sort of get under their skin still. Here we go then, Max Verstappen having a look back up the inside of Carlos Sainz through turn 3. And yeah, at the moment, this battle just keeps going on lap after lap there. And I think actually Perez was able to get past him as well there. Sainz tried to hang it around the outside. Brilliant little move from Max Verstappen there. And yeah, Perez, I think, was able to get the inside down in towards turn 5 there. It's a long race, boys. We don't have to worry about it too much. And nice to see whichever of our mechanics was wearing Max Verstappen's helmet has been removed from the organisation. But here comes Sainz again then on Sergio Perez as we head back down towards turn 1 there. Perez thinks about a move on Verstappen, but I'm just thinking at the moment whether it's worth letting Sainz just sort of play his own race out. What I'm half expecting to happen is Red Bull will box one of their cars into a bit of traffic, although saying that, there is some big gaps starting to form in this race. It has been a very weird race so far. We have got a big gaggle of cars sort of around, you know, your Magnusons, your Bottas's, your Zhou Guan Yus. But yeah, it seems like everyone has spread out quite rapidly here. Of course, Mick Schumacher way out of position, and he can sometimes be a driver that, of course, does end up sort of getting in the way of the front runners when they make their first stops. So here we go, end of lap 16 there, just telling Sainz to avoid dirty air at the moment, but we've got both Red Bulls again side by side down in towards the final corners. Can we try and get Sainz to get the jump on the pair of them here? We'll go full push mode out of the final corner. It looks like Perez has been caught out behind Sergio. So yeah, Carlos will have to slot back in for now again. It's already pretty much now at 1/4 race distance here. It has been chaos at the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. But for Carlos Sainz, it's just not slotting in how we would have wanted to early on here. And yeah, I said to him, just avoid dirty air at the moment, of course, just because of that engine wear. But yeah, I kind of just don't want him fighting these two all too much at the moment. Try and look after the tyres. The strategy will come back to you, my son. Right, so Charles Leclerc then coming round towards the end of lap 16 has already got an 18-second lead over Max Verstappen here. So we are going to get him to box at the end of this lap there onto that fresh set of the medium compound tyres there. He's done pretty well up to now looking after these soft tyres, but I'm just a little bit worried that if they start to fall off, he might end up under a bit more pressure from those Red Bulls behind. Of course, the only real other question we have, of course, is what strategy are Red Bull going for today? It's into the pit lane then comes Charles Leclerc. If Red Bull are one-stopping, I mean, even then, of course, effectively he's pretty much built up a pit stops margin over them, so he is going to be incredibly close still as we head out of the pit lane. 2.7 seconds stop. The team are getting sloppier with those, it seems like, at the moment. As where is Max Verstappen going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix there? He and Sergio Perez are still battling each other, as I think Charles Leclerc is going to get jumped by the pair of them on pit exit. I think he might be actually quite close to Carlos Sainz here, as Sainz is going to accidentally... Is he going to brake? No, he's not. Sainz gets the jump on him. That hasn't quite worked out as well as I would have wanted. Immediately we'll tell Sainz, don't fight your teammate here through the first couple of corners. Again, a big thanks to all of you that have kept reminding me in the comments below. As there we go, then we will do a multi-21 there. Fernando is faster than you. Not quite what I want to do with Sainz at this stage of the year, but sometimes, I mean, Leclerc's already built up a pit stop margin at 1/3 distance here. He could be set to dominate this weekend, but Sainz, I just want to sort of play the long game and hope that he can come back at those Red Bulls later on in the afternoon. As there we go then, Max Verstappen earlier into the pit lane than I was expecting there on his medium tyres, so clearly doesn't want to get stuck behind his teammate too long. There is a big gaggle of cars heading down in towards the final corner, but I think Verstappen should be out comfortably ahead of them, and that was the big gaggle that I was worried about that he might get caught into, of Bottas, Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu, but he's going to be safely in front. Leclerc now all over the back, or nearly all over the back of Sergio Perez. And we just need to be careful. When are we going to pit Carlos Sainz in this race? He's still on 65% wear. Carlos Sainz could go a whole lot longer here, and it might be worth trying to adjust him over onto a one-stop strategy. But yes, Sainz is looking after those tyres. He's actually doing a fantastic job with them. He could one-stop this and go softs to the checkered flag looking at it. Not convinced Charles Leclerc will be able to do the same, but of course we don't need to worry too much on Charles' end, because he is just absolutely rapid at this stage of the day. Are we going to see Perez into the pit lane, though, at the end of lap 23? It does look like no one really wants to stretch their tyres too far. They're, of course, a very, very abrasive circuit here in Barcelona. Perez does dive in then, so Charles Leclerc will re-inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. I'm intrigued to see where Perez will come out in comparison to Max Verstappen. But yeah, we're going to let Sainz go really long then on this first stint there as he tries to lap Mick Schumacher a little bit further behind. But yeah, Leclerc back into the lead then. We've got Alonso and Hamilton into the pit lane as well. Sergio will be out before they get into the pits. But where is Verstappen going to be in comparison to his teammate there? As it looks like Red Bull are two-stopping this one as well. They're medium, soft would be the guess. But Verstappen, I think, has got the jump on Sergio there as they heads out of the pit lane. Yes, he has. So that battle might now be done and dusted for the rest of the afternoon. But it is just a case of what we can do with Sainz to make sure he gets ahead of those Red Bulls by the checkered flag. As I mean, we cross the halfway stage of this race. Things are looking so peachy down at Ferrari at the moment now. I did honestly worry that this was going to be a bit more of a Red Bull circuit, but apparently that's going to actually have been the higher speed stuff. So Monaco next weekend as well could be very promising for us here. But Sainz, yeah, at half distance, has still only taken half the usable tyre life out of those mediums. I'm going to probably try and get him to about lap 44, and then we'll drop him onto a set of softs to the end. Verstappen is taking a bit of time out of him. It will be a lot of work to do. But of course, they've both got one more stop to make as well. This is looking incredibly comfortable down at Ferrari at the moment. So yeah, the other thing I had forgot to consider, of course, is the fact that Charles Leclerc is going to have to pit onto a set of softs as well soon. So what I'm going to do, end of 41 there, we're going to bring Sainz into the pit lane and bolt him on a completely fresh set of tyres. I mean, 22 seconds up the road, though. Charles Leclerc is absolutely in control of this one, just like he was in real life until the engine went bang. I have seen other people have issues late on in races so far in F1 Manager, but somehow, touch wood, we've had nothing like that so far. I haven't been murdered by a lapped car or anything like that. But Charles Leclerc, yeah, 25 laps to go. We're going to box him probably closer to lap 50 than lap 40 here. But Sainz, I mean, he has just been the tyre-saving king up until now. I'm sure those mediums aren't feeling particularly comfortable at this stage of the afternoon. But, I mean, this should theoretically launch him straight back up into P2 of the race there, and that would be a fantastic effort by Carlos Sainz here. Won't quite have the pace to win his home race, but, you know, fresh engine for Charles Leclerc, like we said, it was always meant he was probably going to be in control this afternoon. We will, of course, bolt the fresh engine in for Carlos Sainz next weekend, because you can see that engine is not taking too much wear, actually, this weekend, so we could afford just to leave him out on it for one more weekend there, and obviously when we get in towards some of the high-speed circuits again, give Carlos Sainz a better fighting chance. But yeah, Charles Leclerc is still going to be out comfortably in front. Sainz is probably going to re-emerge around where Sergio Perez is in this race, but like I said, you know, Red Bull, they've both each got a stop to go before the end of this Grand Prix there. He's going to come out a little bit further back behind Sergio than I originally wanted, but as an AlphaTauri flies past him, it's clear track space for Carlos Sainz. This is just looking absolutely in control. Well, less than 20 to go then here from Barcelona, and Charles Leclerc back into the pit lane then for his second and final stop. But I mean, 35 seconds clear of Max Verstappen at this stage of the race. He's nearly 50 seconds ahead of his teammate. I mean, how many people has Charles Leclerc lapped in this Grand Prix? He must be so far in front of most people there. He's lapped up to 8th place in this Grand Prix, and he's not far behind Esteban Ocon, just in P7 there. This has been such a dominant display from Charles Leclerc this afternoon. I'm intrigued to see when we're going to see Verstappen back into the pit lane as well. They're on a 2.6 second stop from the team is even better, as there is a huge gaggle of cars down at turn 1 there. Verstappen does peel into the pit lane as well. We are just going to have to be careful, as Charles Leclerc's got to try and navigate all these back markers once more. Because, yeah, just that whole Zhou down to Bottas group are now in the way. But Sainz will now re-inherit P3 then in this race. But I just said about how comfortable we were at the front of the field and how we've sometimes seen other cars get taken out late on in the races by back markers. I'm really now hoping that's not going to happen to us. There's lap 49 then, Sergio Perez into the pit lane. I'm just eagerly watching Charles Leclerc make sure he slices his way through all these back marker cars there. Zhou Guanyu does jump out of the way, so we've got yellow flags out in Sector 2. Not too sure who's had issues there, but yeah, Sainz back up then into P2 of this race. Charles Leclerc now comfortably in some clear air once more, as it was Mick Schumacher running wide. What on earth's Mick done then late on in the day, or just went for a trip through the gravel trap? That's not going to help him or his floor. Well, in towards the final 10 laps then, at the moment, there's still really not a lot to say. The only thing we've got is Verstappen has taken about 3 seconds out of Sainz over the last few laps there, but surely it's not going to be enough by the checkered flag. Like I said, we've been so impressed. Leclerc has just dominated this race, like absolutely walked away with it. But Sainz has been brilliant on the tyres there, which has really allowed him to open up a much superior strategy over Red Bull. But yeah, 10 laps to go. Like I said, there's not really a lot to talk about. The only other question I have is, can Leclerc lap Lewis Hamilton? And then it'll only be the Ferraris and the Red Bulls on the lead lap by the checkered flag. Well, here we are then, final lap of the Spanish Grand Prix here, and Charles Leclerc, I mean, what more can you say? Comfortably fastest in qualifying by half a second over anyone else. The new Ferrari power unit in the back of the car this weekend has certainly made the difference there, and 42 seconds his lead as we head down the front straightaway for the final time here. Yuki Tsunoda, 5 laps down in this race. It was really not been a fun afternoon for the AlphaTauri man. They're 2 laps down on anyone else here, but yeah, not of course helped by the fact that Charles Leclerc has been in a league of his own. He wasn't happy after Miami last weekend, of course, that Carlos Sainz snookered away the victory for him right in the dying stages there. So Leclerc, he wanted to come to this weekend. You know, he felt confident, he felt motivated, and of course, yeah, further helped, like I said, you know, by that engine has certainly made a big difference here. But of course, you know, when Red Bull and Carlos Sainz put fresh power units in later on in the year, you know, Charles Leclerc might just struggle a little bit to keep up with them in that stage there. Through Capure corner for the final time, though, in the Spanish Grand Prix. You know, Charles Leclerc probably could have dominated this race in a similar fashion in real life had the engine not gone pop that weekend there. But as he heads up in towards the final few corners then here from Barcelona. What a race it's been from Charles Leclerc. I apologise, maybe not the most interesting for you guys, but still, sometimes if you want to see Ferrari on top, they kind of got to dominate a little bit like they did back in the early 2000s there. Round the final corner, Charles Leclerc is going to make it his 4th race victory of the season there out of the final turn. Pure domination.
This was incredibly difficult.
Let's take a closer look. Charles Leclerc there, taking home the win.
I don't think there was a single second of that race where they didn't believe they'd win it.
Well, that is probably the most dominant display we'll see on F1 Manager there. Charles Leclerc pretty certainly led every single lap of the afternoon, despite the safety car restart early on and being under a bit of pressure from his teammate there. Carlos Sainz has done a fantastic job to keep Max Verstappen at bay there. The Red Bull 2-stop strategy almost brought him back to Carlos by the end there, and had the race been just a couple of laps longer, I'm sure it would have made the difference. But brilliant control and composure from Sainz this weekend. Didn't quite have the pace throughout the entirety of the weekend, but I'm sure he'll come back stronger in the near future. And it's yet another one too to go back to Maranello there with a full host of points as well. Verstappen P3 ahead of Sergio Perez in 4th place there, and like I said, only those 4 cars on the lead lap come the checkered flag.
Well, this was definitely Charles Leclerc's weekend. Everyone involved in Formula One dreams of seeing their driver up there on the podium. And the Monegasque driver certainly proved his worth with a terrific drive today. And after all that hard work, surely it's time for them to enjoy this moment. I don't think Ferrari will be too disappointed with that result.
This was an extremely convincing race for them. They're one impressive team, and they deserve to celebrate this properly.
After an intense weekend, the team ends in 1st place in the constructor standings.
For the next Grand Prix, make sure you join us at the renowned city circuit of Monaco. Prepare yourselves for one of the most legendary rounds of the season.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Spanish Grand Prix. I mean, what can we say? Absolute domination there from Charles Leclerc. Pole position, fastest lap, race victory. I'm pretty certain he led every single lap there as well. We'll have a quick look at the data view, see if we can have a look as to whether he did run the whole race in the lead. I think, yeah, he was pretty certain he was always in front there, wasn't he? Throughout the entirety of the afternoon. Even Gasly was at one point the car behind him. But yeah, I think, was he Leclerc? Was he always out in the lead of the race? I think he was, wasn't he? By the looks of it. No, apparently, did he drop back into the midfield? Yeah, he did for a very, very brief period, didn't he? And it was pretty much immediately back up into the lead of the Grand Prix there. And yeah, just walked away with it from then on. Even set the fastest lap on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix there, just to kind of, egg everyone on, just show everyone he was absolutely dominant today there. But 44.8 seconds clear of Carlos Sainz. I think the last time we saw a race victory that big, of course, was Hamilton at the Russian GP last year there. Verstappen P3 ahead of Sergio Perez. Nice to see Perez getting his elbows out once. Mainly, of course, because I'm the leader of the other team, and seeing their drivers squabble allowed Sainz to walk away with P2 there. Hamilton in 5th, ahead of Esteban Ocon there. Another good drive by the young Frenchman ahead of Alonso. Bottas, despite a rough qualifying session, did recover to more big points ahead of Zhou Guanyu. And Daniel Ricciardo, first points for him of the season as well there. Sebastian Vettel, a good drive out in P13, should move him up the order based on count back ahead of Mick Schumacher and Alex Albon. And like we said, Yuki Tsunoda A best lap of a 1:26. It was very clear that after that crash with Mick Schumacher, that AlphaTauri car probably shouldn't have continued racing there. But Drivers' Championship, the gap just opens up more and more at the top of the table there. 21 points now between Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. They're 29 further back to Max Verstappen there. Charles Leclerc's already got a 50-point lead over the Red Bull driver. Ocon again, though, with that result now is tied once more with his teammate Fernando Alonso as Gasly gets relegated back down into P10. And like we said, Sebastian Vettel moves up into 16th place there on count back ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Constructors-wise, though, we've now got a, 93-point lead over Ferrari, over Red Bull even, after the opening 6 races of the year there. We've got more points than Red Bull and Mercedes combined after the opening few races of the year. It's been an absolutely dominant display at this early stage of the championship. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will return tomorrow evening ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.